students, this is your tutor Namonga, and in this tutorial we'll be covering the multiple choice questions from section A of the 2021 internal paper. So let's get started straight away. Question 1. The period of sexual development in boys and girls is called, okay, I'm sure you can see the options there. From our options, the answer is C, puberty. So for all these definitions that are here, you're supposed to know how to define them. Question 2. The diagram below is of a female reproductive system showing the fetus in the uterus. Trying to zoom in. Okay, that's the fetus there. So in case you can't see clearly, you can just go to your 2021 internal paper. So that's it for answering. Which labeled part is responsible for the exchange of nutrients, oxygen, and waste products between the embryo and the mother? Okay, so you have 1, which is the amniotic fluid. You have 2, which is the umbilical cord. You have 3, which is the uterus, and you have 4 there. So from these parts, which one is responsible for the transfer of nutrients and oxygen and the waste products? It is the umbilical cord, which is 2. So 2 is B. So you're supposed to know the function of the rest of the parts. I think there's a video I did earlier to discuss the functions of the parts of the fetus there. Then number 3 is, which component of a balanced diet will be required in greater amounts by a manual worker? Who is a manual worker? People who do hard labor. Okay, so what do they need in more amounts in terms of the nutrients? It will be carbohydrates. So this question usually comes a lot, and they'll just bring different personnel. So they usually ask a manual worker, like in this question, or they can ask you the nutrient needs of a pregnant woman or a growing baby. So please know. So for example, a pregnant woman will need more of iron. Okay, then a growing baby will need more of protein. Then a manual worker will need more of carbohydrates. Which of the following is an effect of water pollution? It causes, okay, so our options there: acid rain is caused by air pollution. Outbreak of diseases, B. Difficulties in breathing, air pollution as well. Stunted growth in plants is just a distractor. It is not caused by any type of pollution. This is actually caused by a lack of a certain nutrient that plants needs. So here our answer is B, outbreak of diseases like cholera, what else, typhoid, and the like. So the following diagram shows the basic structure of a plant cell. Okay, which labeled part is responsible for controlling all cell activities? So for a cell, whether you like it or not, you're going to meet this question in your section A and section B as well. You're supposed to know how to label the parts and give their exact functions. So A is our nucleus, it controls all cell activities. B is a chloroplast, and it is responsible for giving the plant, the leaf rather, its green pigment. And we have D, which is a cell wall, which defines a cell, plant cell. We have C, the cytoplasm, which contains cell organelles. So which labeled part is responsible for controlling all cell activities? I think I already mentioned this. It's the nucleus, which is A. So how do you differentiate between A and B? Have you seen that they are almost the same? A is a nucleus and B is a chloroplast. So the chloroplast is usually very small in size compared to the nucleus. The nucleus will be the bigger circle, which is shaded, while the chloroplast are a bit small. Okay, you bear with me if my voice is a bit shaky. I have a developing flu. So question 6, a plant showing stunted growth with very small yellow leaves is lacking the plant nutrient code. Okay, so you have plant nutrients listed there, and you're supposed to know what each of these nutrients give the plant, and if in short supply, what will result? The same way if a human being lacks carbohydrates, okay, if a baby lacks carbohydrates, they're going to have marasmus. If the baby lacks protein, they're going to have kwashiorkor. So even plants will do the same. If they lack a certain nutrient, they develop a certain fault. So here, which deficiency results in the stunted growth with very small yellow leaves? It is nitrogen. Okay, so you're supposed to know the rest there, what they do. 7, the diagram below shows a model of a molecule. Okay, the molecule is simply a mixture of 2 or more atoms that are chemically combined. That is the simplest definition of a molecule. So what does this molecule represent? Okay, H2O is a representation of water, and we have water there. Hydrogen is simply H2, nitrogen is N2, and oxygen is O2. This was so easy to get right. Okay, let's move on to our next question. Our next question says, the graph below shows the changes in temperature of ice as it is heated. Okay, hope it's clear. Which 2 letters represent a stage when melting ice? Excuse me. Which 2 letters represent the stage when melting ice will be in form of both the liquid and the solid state? So which stage will be showing both the liquid and the solid part? So if you check there from G to H, that is completely solid. Okay, below 0 degrees, it's solid, it's like ice. Then between H and I, it's both liquid and solid. Okay, then there I and J, that is it's transforming now, going completely to liquid, and then between J and K now it's at boiling point. Remember, the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. So there it is now converting to gas. I think I've answered the question already. So the stage where it is both in liquid and solid state is simply H and I. Do we have H and I? Yes, we have it. It's B. You cannot pick C. Even if you haven't studied, you can't pick C. 1 and 3. There's no 3 here. So how will you pick an answer that doesn't even exist on the diagram? Okay, let's move on. Which of the following statements best describes weight? Weight is a measure of, I think we've been learning weight since preschool. Those who went to preschool. What's the answer? Weight is simply the force that acts on an object due to gravity. And that will be a D. Question number 10. Study the diagram below on an experiment on light. Okay, we have there, I think it's a bit more clear. On M there, that's 30 degrees. In case you can see, that's 30 degrees. So now, mathematics comes in place here. So when you check the normal is a straight line, and any straight line in math, let me not say any standing line. Okay, look at where the normal is and where L is. From the normal to L, that's a 90 degrees. Okay, and we know that horizontal slipping line gives us 180 degrees. So this diagram altogether is 180 degrees. But from the normal to L is 90, and also from the normal to O, that's another 90. So if M is 30, meaning L will be 90 minus 30, which will give you 60. And from properties of angles in math, we know that opposite sides are opposite angles are the same. So M and N will be both 30, O and L will be both 50 degrees. What will be the correct value of the angles labeled N and O? Very simple. It will be 30 and 60 degrees, which is D. I've explained how we got that. Which of the following components of blood is responsible for transporting water, body waste, and food nutrients? Okay. The part is called plasma. You will learn more about this when you get to grade 10, when you're going to be looking at blood. in more detail. So there, plasma is our answer, A. Let's continue. Question 12. Which of the following shows the correct movement of inhaled air through the nose? Inhalation is just simply breathing in, right? So what's the process? How does the air move from the time you breathe it in? There's no way you're going to start with the alveolus. The alveolus is found inside of the lung. So when you just breathe in air, it can't just start from the alveolus. Same as bronchus, huh? So we eliminate A and B. This is how you choose multiple choice. So meaning our possible answers should come from, our possible answer should either be C or D. So trachea. So from the trachea, where does it go? Bronchial. Okay, it depends how you pronounce words. So bronchial, that's how I pronounce my C. The second part there on C. It definitely can't go to that because that is a branch leading to the alveolus. So our correct answer will be D. Trachea, bronchus, bronchial, and alveolus. 13. Which of the following describes the best way of prevention of sexually transmitted infections, which in short form are called STIs, or in local language tusonde, among the adolescents? You guys, how best can you prevent the transmission of these? It is just abstinence. Just stay away and wait for the right time. 14. Which process removes nitrogen from the atmosphere? So we did the cycles of the atmosphere, and we learned that there is the nitrogen, the oxygen, and the water cycle. And from the nitrogen cycle, we learned about denitrification and the nitrogen fixation. So how do we pick the correct answer here? You already eliminate C and D. Respiration and photosynthesis have nothing to do with the nitrogen cycle. Our answer is nitrogen fixation, which is a process by which certain bacteria like rhizobium in a groundnut plant remove oxygen from the atmosphere and fix it to the roots of the plant. Okay, you also learn more about this in biology. It will be very interesting. 15. A potted green plant which had been in the dark for 48 hours excuse me, was later enclosed for 6 hours in a bell jar with sodium hydroxide as shown below. Okay, so they have the plant, you have the bell jar, and you have the sodium hydroxide. So what color would be observed when one leaf from the plant is tested for starch using iodine solution? Okay, so when you test a leaf for starch with iodine solution, normally the leaf the color you observe after the experiment would be blue-black normally. Okay, but due to the presence of sodium hydroxide, this would not be the same. Instead, our color will be brown. I hope you got that. Normally, if there's no sodium hydroxide, test for starch, the result will be blue-black, okay? But now, because of the presence of sodium hydroxide, which tempered with carbon dioxide there in our plant, will have a brown color. The diagram below shows a fresh plant that was cut and fixed at the end of a glass tube. At the beginning of the experiment, the air bubble was at the position P. So let me just zoom in for you there. Okay, you have the air bubble there, P is here, Q, the capillary tube, the stand there, and the leafy shoot there. You have a leafy shoot, okay, and the water reservoir there. So what does our question say? After some hours, the air bubble moved from point Q to point Q rather. What is the name of the process that caused the bubble to move from P to Q? Okay, so plants lose water to the atmosphere by the process known as transpiration. Or in other words, transpiration is a process by which water vapor is lost through the leaves rather of plants through small pores in the leaf called the stomata. Okay, so our answer there is transpiration. So as the water is being lost, more will be absorbed. I've known that it's transpiration because that plant has toma leaves there. Okay, let me show you. Let me just show you that. You see this leafy shoot? They've even made it obvious. Leafy shoot. So water will be lost by transpiration there. Okay. Copper 2 oxide is formed by heating copper in air. This is shown by the word equation. Copper plus oxygen will produce copper 2 oxide. This type of chemical reaction is classified as, okay, so you learn this when you do chemical reactions. A chemical reaction that produces a whole new product is called a synthetic chemical reaction or synthesis chemical reaction. Do we have that here? It's there, D. So a type of chemical reaction where after the reaction you produce something you didn't have completely will be called a synthesis reaction. Decomposition is a type of reaction where you have a product, okay, you have a substance, then you break it down through maybe heating or using a catalyst. You break it down to produce two other things, two or more things. Okay, then you learn more about the double and the single replacements and chemical reactions, which will soon cover. Study the electric circuit diagram below. We'll be learning about circuits from grade 2 if I can remember. Which switches must be closed to make bulb error to light? Okay, bulb error is there. You have your cells there and you have 3 switches. So now, which switch will close? Should close for the light to go on? I think this is easy. Even a conductor, I just say, oh, but conductor, help me with this question. They'll answer for you. I want you to guess for this one. Honestly, I'm not going to say the answer for this. Which one should be closed? Anyway, I'll just say in case. So S1 and S2 must be closed because these are directly linked to the cells, the batteries here. S1 and S3 has nothing to do with the cells. So even if it's left open, it doesn't affect the bulb. So long as 1 and 2 are closed, we're good to go. The law that states that mass of a substance before a chemical reaction is equal to the total mass of a substance that are produced is called the law of conservation of matter. Oh no, I've now said the answer before reading the options. So just a hint, for grade 9, if you want to pass science, you really have to be good at materials and energy, because it will carry like 70% of section B, and you also find it in section A. So you see, if you think I'm lying, you can go to any science paper, look at section B, you find most questions are titled materials and energy. So this particular question is also coming from materials and energy, and specifically chemical reactions. So we're going to do a video on chemical reactions alone, and it will be posted very soon before you open schools. Okay, so 20 as the last question. Section A has 20 good questions. So our last question for the day is 20. A spacecraft that gathers and transmits messages as it orbits the Earth is called, what is it called? It is called a communication satellite. I hope we've all seen a satellite before. Which one can I, like ZNBC has a satellite, movie TV, all these satellites. Okay, the answer there is satellite. So remember to go through as many past papers as you can, and the exams will seem so far now, but start now. You have limited time, and before you know it, you'll be in the exam room. So start preparing now, not last minute.